Good morning. Happy November, beautiful souls. How is everybody today? Oh my goodness. So happy to see you all here. I see you guys are here. If you are with us, please say hi because that's how I can say hi back and we get to know each other better. And I just love that. Good morning. Welcome to November. You guys, today we are talking about your CEO mindset. It's so funny. I almost said SEO, but that's a totally different conversation. Your CEO mindset and how it's not just a vibe. There's a lot of people talking about the vibe and the elevation of being a CEO. And let me tell you something, that is really important, especially given the idea or the truth, if you ask me, right? That all business is built on scarcity. Yowza, more on that coming. But the idea of business plans, longevity, the scaling, the one to many versus the one to one, all this stuff that we hear, especially if you're in a service-based business, right? That one quote unquote must have. It's all built on scarcity. And that's the issue. That is truly the issue. This is why, a true, abundant, wealthy business blueprint is what I specialize in. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm shuffling our cards, you guys. So for November, I love that. You guys, I swear to God, I don't rig them. I swear. You guys watch me shuffle these, right? Like every time. I swear to goodness. Why am I not in the middle? Come on, Walton, get in the middle. All right. Okay. Here we go. Have confidence. Here. Can you guys see this? There we go. I'm trying to get it to focus for you. Okay, so have confidence. Look at her. Is she just so beautiful? Aw. Okay, so have confidence. Moving forward does not necessarily require you to have confidence in yourself. Confidence in God, the universe, your highest self is enough, along with knowing that God works through you and with you in all ways. Lean upon us if your confidence wavers, and we will buoy your courage and faith. By the way, if you have not read a great book, hey, Shelly, I see you're here. I'm so glad you made it. If you guys have not read a really great book called The Sophia Code, just a thought, you might want to check that out. It might change the way you listen to and or use the word God. Very interesting. Just going to throw that out there. Because I know everybody's got a different belief system, right? And I always want to make sure everyone feels included because the philosophies are the same, right? It doesn't matter what we call it. You can call it universe, the magic of life. You can call it God. You can call it goddess. You can call it Sophia. You can call it whatever you want. I don't think the name matters. I think what matters is understanding our connection to this world. Yeah. And having confidence in that is a really big deal. If you have taken my course, Effortless Sales, what I really teach in there is that, you have an agreement with the universe. And that agreement is that you will use your gifts, your talents, and your expertise to make the world a better place. That's your agreement. And your job is to keep that agreement. The universe will take care of everything else. The rest of it is almost none of your business. Now, I'm not saying sit on the couch and meditate. I don't believe that. But what I am saying is if you can tap into the truth of that and you show up every day willing to give your gifts, talents, and expertise, willing to put your experience into packages so that you can help other people go through things faster and with less pain, because that's what people will always pay for. It doesn't matter what the product is. If it will help people get through something faster and with less pain, they will pay for it, right? If you show up and do that consistently, you let the universe, God, highest self, whatever, the forces, the powers that be, doesn't matter what you call it, you let that part get handled. Meaning, let's say part of your gifts is in the month of November, you want to put together a little conference. You want to do a Saturday conference / market. Totally making this up, right? Like you decide that that's what you want to do given your expertise. You put that together. The parts you don't have control over that belong to God, the universe, highest self, powers that be, whatever, is whether or not it's going to rain, whether or not the advertisements and or your posts and or your emails get in front of the right people at the right time, right? That part's kind of overstepping. The other part that's overstepping, and this has a lot of people sort of like drop their shoulders and relax into becoming a CEO, is it's also none of your business who can and cannot afford it. I'm just going to let that drop there for a second. It is not your business who can and cannot afford it. You guys know I teach incredibly ethical pricing and ethical sales. Just because it's none of your business what people can and can't afford, that doesn't mean that you don't make sure your pricing matches the value of what you're delivering. Make sense? So two different things, but it's really none of your business. Alex, happy coffee with Coach to you too. And Shelly, you're the sweetest. I always love what you have to say. You're just so kind. All right, beautiful souls. So that's kind of the preface for today is that you are here to do something. You are here to give the world your gifts. Okay. That's your job. Like just show up and do that. You can start right now by dealing with a colleague a different way today. You can start right now by writing that post you know you're supposed to be writing. You can start right now by reaching out to the client, the customer you have not, and the one that you just thought of is the one that you need to reach out to. Yeah, and the other thing is, you can kind of make up your own pathway to sales, you guys. It's the Wild West, as we know, more than it's ever been, especially with AI. Reach out to people individually. Hey, I've been thinking of you. I'd like to do this thing. What do you think? Why are you not doing that? What happens? Because the CEO would do that. Because the CEO's job is to make sure the business is profitable. That is the CEO's job. And so the CEO reaches out to people. The CEO makes sure the post goes out. The CEO makes sure the profit plan is working. Okay. So it's not just a vibe, it's your calendar. And what happens for so many people is you don't understand. If I were to sit next to you and open up your calendar, I could tell you what your priorities are. Right? I mean, couldn't I? I could tell you. Your priority, if you're like most of us, self included, right? It's other people's needs. I mean, every single one of my clients, every single human being in the Abundance Academy, everybody who's got a one-on-one with me, everybody who, is waiting for a review from me today. It's Monday, so the Abundance Academy gets their reviews from me on Mondays, right? All of those people, that's all scheduled in my calendar. But what's also scheduled in my calendar is CEO thinking time. And that's tough. That's the part where it's so easy to be like, I could really go do XYZ. I could do this for my daughter. I could do this for this client. I could do this for my team. Like when it's like at the time when the business is like, hey, yo, boss lady. Hey, yo, CEO lady. Could you sit down and think about us for a sec? Could you just make a couple plans? Just think, right? And that is so critical because that's where the ideas come from. That and the shower apparently is where we all have our best ideas, right? But you can't even do that if you don't give your mind the space to think. And the reason we all have shower moments, you guys, is because there's nothing else you can do in the shower. Like you're in there washing your hair, you're in there like soaping up, shaving your legs, doing whatever you're doing in the shower, right? You can't be on your phone. A few places you can't be on your phone, right? No one else can come in and intrude. And if they do, you slap them, right? So it's like you're all by yourself in there. And that's why we all get such great ideas. That and water. We know water really helps things flow literally in our own minds and bodies. And so that CEO thinking time is critical. So there's a couple things I'd like you to think about as we look at your calendar and you look at, and you could be the CEO of your life, you are the CEO of your business. And remember, as the CEO of your business, your job is profitability. Your job is making sure not only is the business viable, but that it is absolutely profitable and that it is providing a living for you and anyone else who works with you. Yeah. So that's your job. Now, there might be a couple internal shifts here. Anita, what's up, girl? So good to see you. Hello, hello. Hi, beautiful souls. You guys keep coming in. Just come say hi. I promise. I only bite on Wednesdays. Okay, a couple thoughts I had for you guys. If you've been with me for a bit, one of my favorite things to teach you is that your best life is usually one sweaty 10-minute conversation away. You know the sweaty conversation I'm talking about, right? I am talking about the, hey, I think we should break up. Hey, I think we should get back together. Hey, I think you shouldn't be doing that. Hey, I want to rearrange this. I want to move. I want to quit. I want to start something new. I want to rework the way that we're doing XYZ. Those conversations are tough, right? And they're tough because we love our people. They're tough because we're taking a chance on ourselves. They're tough because we've been taught for so long not to rock the boat, right? Like just keep the peace, people. Just keep the peace, right? You probably heard this a lot as a little girl. Shh, 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 shh. Don't have emotions. They bother other people, right? So we've been told and taught and actively like trained not to have these types of conversations, but your best life is usually one 10-minute sweaty conversation away. So let that sink in for a second. And then I wrote down a couple of conversations you may not be having that are a little bit sweaty. Okay. Because often when I talk to you guys about being a better CEO, we're rounding out the year. People are like, oh my God, Sarah, give me the tactic, give me the quick plan, give me the thing. And I'm happy to do that. But you guys, 9 times out of 10, that's not actually what you or your business need. What you need is one of these conversations, one that's a little bit more courageous, one that's a tiny bit more honest than the ones you actually enjoy having, like, I'm going to read you my about page, or let me write some ads, or whatever that is, when you're not actually dealing with what's happening, the truth of what's happening. So here's some ideas to get you started. Please write down the ones that resonate with you most. Okay. All right. So, raver conversations. Do you need to talk to your clients about boundaries? I heard someone just go, yes. Okay. So, do you need to talk to your clients about boundaries? Do you need to talk to your team about capacity? Here's what I mean about that, you guys. There's so often when people are starting businesses, or like you start to get nervous because the revenue's coming in and you're just like, oh my God, but can I actually afford to hire somebody? Yes, you can. There are so many fractional positions out there. There's so many incredible human beings who are like, you know what? Filing your paperwork or sending out invoices is like a 10 for me. That is like my favorite thing to do. And you're like, oh dear God, I hate it. Hire that person for 2 hours a week, right? If you absolutely, like, for me, you guys know how much I love to clean, but it takes a lot of time. And there are times I could clean, but I actually could be working with clients or working on something for our team, and someone else can do the cleaning, right? It's like you just got to kind of start to pick and look at your own capacity, because so many of us, and I'm a big fan of bootstrapping. You guys know I'll get awfully frisky. I will get awfully resourceful. I taught myself how to edit video in a weekend on YouTube. Like, I will do stuff like that. And sometimes it's absolutely necessary. But as the business grows, you've got to be honest with yourself about capacity. And as the CEO, is this the best use of my time? And that is such a critical question. And that's why your calendar matters so much. Because if I open up your calendar and I'm seeing on there a bunch of tasks you hate doing, but they make the business work, I'm going to look at you and be like, this is not a Monday you want to get up and go to work. You're going to be like, oh no, I don't want to do any of this. And all of a sudden, this business that you created to feel free, this business so you didn't have to deal with corporate BS, this business that you created from your heart has now become a burden. That's a danger zone, because then it's so much easier just to throw it out, give up on your dreams, stop thinking like a CEO, and just go back to work. And not that there's anything wrong with that, if that's what you actively chose because it's what you wanted, not because you let tasks get in the way of your actual dream and your agreement with the universe to deliver your gifts to others. Okay. All right. So, team and capacity. You may also need to have an honest conversation with your money about sustainability. Is the current trajectory you're on profitable? Is it going to continue to make money for you? And are you constantly looking at how you can pull back some of the expenses while increasing the revenue? This is a constant for CEOs. Now, I will always urge you and teach you and nudge you pretty hard. It's not so much a gentle nudge, but more like a baby shove, right? Towards doing this ethically, right? Everybody's like stripping down everything and using AI for everything. That's not exactly what I mean. Can you use AI intelligently? Oh my God, please do. It's wonderful, but don't fire every copywriter you have or every project manager you have because ChatGPT told you how to do something once. That's actually not how that's going to work. Do you need it to spur some ideas? Do you need it to help you get organized in your own thoughts? Absolutely. Do you want to have some suggestions for some ways that you could put something together or talk about something? Sure, do that. But it cannot replace a lot of the human capital. For those of you that are being awfully scrappy and you're running your business yourself, is it a helpful tool? Oh my God, totally. But once you can hire a human being who's got a working, thinking brain, get them on your business too. All right. Not only that, you're helping provide a living for someone else, which I would urge if you want to start your own business as part of your agreement with the universe. All right. Because here's the thing about AI, and you guys know I love it. I'm a huge fan. I have a background in tech, like all the things, right? It's wonderful. And it does not know how to think. This is not an active thinking thing yet. It's an aggregator of data. Can it parse through a fuck ton of stuff in 2 minutes? Yes. Is that wonderful? Oh my God, totally. Can it think? No, it can't. That's why everybody's copy is looking the same right now, because it can't think. I want to give you a challenge. Like, it can do a lot of stuff. And I've been teaching people how to use it for brand voice and marketing and those sorts of things. But then ask it to give you your competitive edge. It can't do it. It'll try, but it can't do it. because it's not a human. Your brain is exclusive to you. Humans thinking the way humans think is exclusive to us still, at least at this point. Okay. And so having someone else on your team who can be your thinking partner is a big deal. And looking at whether or not your money is currently sustainable is part of that, because if you get another thinking brain on your business, chances are you're going to increase profitability. Yeah, that can be a coach. I know that's very self-serving for me to say, but it can. It can be a coach. It could be a group. It could be a mentorship. It could be a copywriter. It could be a project manager. It could be, my head of operations and my head of customer service. You guys, they're indispensable to me. One of our beautiful souls on our team was out last week. And God bless her. I'm happy she took the week off, right? I cannot tell you how many times I was like, hey, oh, she's not there. Hey, can you, oh, not there, right? Like it starts to become this thing where you're like, wow, there's another thinking brain on my business so that I can go do X. I can do the one thing only I can do. Only I can meet with clients one-on-one. Only I can run the Abundance Academy the way I run the Abundance Academy. Make sense? So I want you to start to look at that. And is your current trajectory with your money sustainable? That's where I really want you looking. All right. Finally, you may have to have a tough conversation with yourself about what is actually not aligned with you anymore. All right. Morning, Clara. Hi, beautiful soul. Oh my gosh, Anita, great timing. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're building out your calendar today. So, one of the things I would like all of you to do as you are looking at this, as you are looking at whether or not you're going to take on this role in November, right, of thinking like a CEO, you have got to start to cut what is no longer aligned. Now, that I want to be very careful when I say that, right? Because there's a lot of alignment coaches out there, and I get why they exist and what's happening. I think it's incredibly valuable, but it can kind of become this buzzword, right? Of like, it's not aligned, I'm not doing it. And it's like, I get that. I really do. Please, I have my days. Like I am like a master at writing emails. She said humbly, right? Like I love writing my emails, and I love when you guys reply and you're like, "Oh my god, were you having coffee in my house with me this morning? This is exactly what I was thinking." I'm proud of it because I really sit with you guys, right? That's my CEO thinking time. I think I sit with you guys. I sit down and I think, right? And I love that. But there are times I don't want to do that. I don't want to. Does that mean it's not aligned with me anymore? No, that is not what that means. It means sometimes there are tasks we're going to have to do in business. We got to get scrappy. We got to dig deep. We got to do CEO thinking time. We got to get it done because the business needs us to get it done. But that's very different from it being a burden, right? It's just part of the deal. Like if you like having teeth, you got to brush your teeth. It's a thing. Yeah. Yeah, like having a business, you're going to have to do tasks once in a while, but it doesn't mean, I don't want to brush my teeth anymore, so I'm going to rip them out. No, right? I'm not aligned with brushing my teeth. That's not a thing. Right? Okay. So this is how we're going to approach dropping things that are no longer aligned. And here's where I really, really want you to look. And you guys are going to hear me talking about this more and more all through November and December. Because you guys know I've really revamped the Abundance Academy. It's a very different form of coaching and of financial growth than it's ever been. And that's because I wanted it to be more aligned, right? Also part of this. But what you're going to hear me talk about is how much of what we built in business was hustle bro culture. And I know you know that. And those have also become buzzwords, just like alignment has become a buzzword. But I want you to sit with me for a second. Just drop your shoulders. Just kind of like just be with me. How much of your business, be honest with yourself, how much of your business has been built on hustle? And I don't mean the good hustle. We've all got to hustle sometimes. Like, yeah, sometimes you're going to make that call. You're going to send that email. You're going to do that. That's not what I'm talking about. Those are tasks your business needs to be done. I am talking about staying up till 2 a.m. I am talking about thinking about you have to make all the money in the world by tomorrow. I am talking about putting something out there because you saw somebody else do it and it worked for them. So you think it should work for you. I am talking about only using AI for your copy. That's a form of hustle. It doesn't feel good. You know it. I know it. It doesn't feel good. It's one thing to get an outline and then go rewrite your stuff. It doesn't feel good when it's the other way around, right? I want you to think about how much of your business has scarcity baked into it. It is literally baked into the business plan. And it could be that you're wildly overcharging, right? Could be. And it feels awful. Could be that you're wildly undercharging and you know it. That's not aligned either. And that also comes from scarcity. And that specific scarcity, I really want you to think about this, okay? Because that specific form of scarcity is all throughout all of your business, right? It really is like, oh, there's not enough. I got to charge. I got to do this. I got to undercharge. I have to figure out what other people can and cannot afford. That is not your job. That's up to those individuals. Please let them be adults. Okay. Your job is to create the thing based on your gifts, talents, expertise, right? Your experience. Your job is to build the thing and offer it and to make sure that the problem it's solving is incredibly valuable. I was working with a client last week. We had the best time. We were just really diving into her unique gift. She said the coolest thing to me, you guys, I really, really want you to just let this simmer for a hot second. Okay. This is an incredible coach. She has been at this for, I want to say 12 years, might be 13. I think it's 12 years. Okay. Unbelievable amount of tools in her backpack to be an incredible coach, right? Just so many tools in her backpack, highly educated, highly certified. And she said to me, so many people, this is another thing I want you to listen to about your business, right? So many people have like told me this one tool is my thing. This one tool is my thing. This method is my thing. This thing's my thing. This thing's my thing. And she's like, none of those are my thing. Those are all just tools I use. My thing is this. And when she said it, we both got chills. I'm not going to tell you her thing because it's hers, right? But it was, let's say it's along the lines of, let's say career advice, crystal clear career advice. And she solved a problem inside the world of career advice that no one else is solving because it's her thing. And it took her, you guys, this is where I go back to CEO thinking time, right? It took her like 6, 7 day in, day out days, right? So it was almost like 2 weeks because it was business days, like just really day in, day out. What is it? What is it? What is it? You need X. I have X. What is it? Okay. Just keeps going at it. Just keeps going. When she finally said it, you guys, this is $1 million problem that she solves. $1 million problem. Could you imagine always feeling confident about all the decisions you make inside your career? Could you imagine that? What would that be like for you? What? What? That's $1 million problem. It's a multi-million-dollar problem, right? You get several people trying to figure that out. You're solving a really big problem. And this is the thing that CEO time gives us is what is the problem you are solving and what will people pay to fix it? Not what can they afford? What will the market bear? And that you can figure out sort of yourself just leaning in. And one of the examples I love to give on this, right, was you're looking at your calendar and you're looking at CEO time and you're looking at where you're overstepping, trying to guess what other people can and can't afford, not your business. I want you to think about all of the clients, customers you've had have said, oh my God, I can't afford that, right? That just means they're not your people. It's no big deal. But how many of those people who quote unquote couldn't afford something would be able to find the money tomorrow if their water heater broke? They'd find it, right? So they're not going without hot water. It's not freaking happening. They'll find it. Why? Because it's that important to them. And this is the part of pricing I think we as women especially really struggle with. Right? We think, oh, I need to solve this problem for everybody and make sure everything I do is super duper affordable. No, you need to make sure that the problem you solve is clear. You need to make sure that your ability to solve that problem is real because it is, or it wouldn't have occurred to you, right? Trust yourself on that and always be ethical, right? But you wouldn't do that if it wasn't your problem to solve. And you wouldn't want to solve it if you didn't have the tools to solve it. So I want you to lean into that a little bit. And when we talk about being aligned, that's what I'm talking about. What problem are you here to solve? And do people know you can solve it? That's the alignment we're looking for. I'm not talking about just, I don't want to write an email today. No, what problem are you solving? And the cool thing is, once you really get that and you're like, oh my God, this is my problem to solve. And you're like jamming and you're so excited. Do you know how easy it is to do those tasky tasks and or hire the right people who can increase your capacity to solve that problem for more people while they're doing some of the tasky tasks you don't want to do. But in order to do that, you have to have an honest conversation with your money and sustainability. Making sense? So I hope this is sort of like, oh, this is making sense. So I gave you guys a couple of different ways you could have, that 10-minute sweaty conversation to have your best life. There are boundaries with your clients, sustainability with your money, right? Capacity with your team, and then alignment with you, like really getting clear on that. So I think you're going to be shocked. But I would like you to put those in your calendar, please, because that's what a CEO does. You're going to consistently be looking at what you need to perform at your best, and not in a performative way, even though I use the word performance, but I'm talking about like really dialing into the problem you were put on planet Earth to solve and making sure you're giving yourself the time and energy you need to solve it for as many people as you want to solve it for. Yeah. All right. So I hope that's helpful. Drop a note if you guys have any questions about that. Um, but one of the things I promised you guys in today's Coffee with Coach was 3 tangible kind of buckets you can use to audit your time. So I just gave you 4 conversations you can schedule. And now I want you to look at kind of 3 big buckets that every CEO should be looking at. And as you're looking into your calendar, I want to make sure these are on your list. Yeah. Okay. So the first one is visibility. Visibility, because this taps right into alignment, right? If you're solving a problem, people need to know that. And if you hate social media, please, dear God, I get it, right? Like you don't have to be on social media. You have newsletters. You could do private messages to people. You can do text messages to people. You can leave voice messages for like you don't have to like create a post, right? Like do that. That's not what I'm saying. For some of you, that's so your jam. That's exactly what you're going to go do because you love it and it really is a beautiful channel for you. Great. Okay. For you, don't hide behind, I don't know what that is. Yes, you do. She said with love. All right. So what I'd like you to look is you're looking at your calendars. Do I have a weekly non-negotiable time for content, for connection with other people, and for outreach? If you are going to grow your business, especially at the end of the year as people get busy, right? You've got to have time for content, for connection, and for outreach. We're going to put that under the category of visibility. Okay. Now, this is a fun one. This one is about money and offers. Okay. Is my calendar aligned with the way that money moves? What? Yeah. Is my calendar aligned with the way that money moves? Do you have time blocked off in your calendar for actual selling? Oh my God, what? Do you have time on your calendar for actual selling? Whether it is sales calls, if it is face to camera on Instagram, right? Is it going to speak at a networking event? Is it even showing up to the networking event? You consider that. You could consider that selling time, right? Do you have time in your calendar for selling? And then the other thing we're going to look at is, money moves through the world all the time, right? In your calendar, do you have time set aside to funnel the money into the business? So selling is one of those ways, right? And another way is to make sure your task list is filled up with revenue producing tasks. Okay. And again, that's going to kind of borderline up into visibility a little bit where we're talking about connection and outreach and content. Okay. Those are revenue producing tasks. Reaching out to someone to say, hey, I have this new thing. I'd love for you to try it. That is a revenue producing task. Yeah. Even if they say no, you're getting feedback about, okay, they didn't get the problem I'm solving and they didn't see that solving that problem was valuable. Great. Incredible feedback. Go back, try again with someone else. Figure out how you make that value clear because you didn't start your business just to gouge people for money. You started to solve this problem. All right. So get back aligned with that problem and then rearrange your calendar to the way that money flows. All right. Finally, your CEO time. Okay. So we've already talked about that conversation you're going to be having with yourself is about capacity and your team, right? You're going to be looking at all the ways money is sustainable in the business, where it's not. You're going to be making sure you're aligned. But what I'd really like you to do is think about how you want to feel, 6 months from now. All right. So that puts us at the end of April. Nope, I lied. At the beginning of April. All right. So I want you to, did I do that right? Nope, still can't count. Beginning of March. Don't be alarmed. I only do math for a living. All right. So you're going to look at that. You're going to get in there. How do you want to feel? It's about to be springtime. You got through the holidays. Like it's starting to warm up a little. You're like, oh my God, I'm still alive. I'm not dead inside. Oh, that's just those of us on the East Coast, right? You're like, oh, yay. How do you want to feel? How many revenue producing tasks are you doing every day? What's happening? What does your CEO life look like 4 months from now? Figure it out. What is that going to look like? It's going to be so cool, but you've got to take the time to let yourself explore that. And This is the time that, how do I say this without sounding like a jerk? Probably can't. That time is so effing precious. And it is the time I'm going to assert you are giving away with zero return on that giveaway, right? Your brain, your heart, your soul, your vision, the way that you solve problems, the way things occur to you is such a gift to this planet. And you are throwing it away quite easily. I know I do. I know I do. I have to say this to myself as much as I say it to you guys. You have got to figure out where you want to be, how you want to be feeling. Okay. All right. The other thing I'd like you to do, just real quick, because I know we're out of time. Oh, I'm so glad. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're sliding in sideways. But what I'd love for you guys to do today, one, let's put these things in your calendar. Okay, get crystal clear that these things are going to be in your calendar. And then two, I really want you to look at the profitability and remember that most business models, if not all business models, are built on a foundation of scarcity. And that's why it doesn't feel right to you. That's why it feels misaligned. So, those of you who are seriously looking for alignment, this is my specialty. All right. This is what the Abundance Academy is for, is to help you infuse abundance into the blueprint of your business, not scarcity. And it's not your fault that your business is built on a model of scarcity. Of course it is. That's our whole planet. That's why taking the time to come into the Abundance Academy and wire an abundance blueprint into your business is so critical, because you've got to push back against this idea that your gifts don't really matter. You were not put here to give away your gifts for free and hate your day job. That is not what you are here for. But wiring that business model for abundance instead of scarcity, that's where you got to come into the academy and let us help you out. Yeah. You guys, it is November. If you decide to jump into the gratitude world, that is this beautiful month. Please be specific about what you're grateful for. Don't just write a list. Really think about the beauty that surrounds you every day, the incredible wealth, the abundance that is everywhere you turn. And if you need help with that, just look at all the leaves on the ground, right? I want you to notice the abundance in your world, the beauty in your world, and remember how truly, truly grateful I am for you on the days when you can't think of other things. All right, beautiful souls, have a wonderful, wonderful November. I will see you back here on December 1st, where we will be talking about year-end planning. For those of you who would like to snag a year-end planning session with me, there is a link underneath this video. I only do 5 a year, and 2 of them are already gone. So if you would like to book one of those with me, now's the time. This is your sign. Let's get it done. And it will be you and me one-on-one looking at what you want to accomplish, not only in 2026, but through the rest of this year. All right, beautiful souls, I will see you in December. Bye.